Welcome to News from Down Home, where I talk about news from Somerset County, Maryland, particularly Princess Anne. Now, I lived in Westover, but I was a small child there and regarded as my hometown. My family had moved there in 1903 from Western Pennsylvania. My great grandfather had bought a farm through a Philadelphia attorney. The farm was several hundred acres, apparently distressed. It had a tenant farmer named Frank Reed on it for 33 years, and that became my family's home and we have deep roots in Somerset County now. And I was a small child there until 1969. We moved away. We had a 30-acre farm with 8 acres on the river. My dad called it the Greenbrier, and he had gotten it from some. He had gotten it borrowed money from some wealthy ladies we worked for, helped clean their yard, mowed their grass. They loaned him $3,000, and he bought this and built a house on it. And it was an idyllic time for me as a young boy. My dad had bought a windmill tower and built a house in it. I called it the Albatross because had been reading Coleridge, I think it is, his Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I could have the wrong author, and called the Albatross. I had a three-legged dog named Rin Tin Tin or Rennie from the TV dog hero, the movie hero, Rennie Rin Tin Tin. And he had four legs when we moved there, but it was an accident on the farm with mowing, and he got one leg cut off. And so he hopped around with me, and he was my best friend, my only friend, as we wandered the streams and fields of the area I lived in. And so I do look back at it. I regard it as an idyllic time, time of great time of wonder for a young boy. And I do think highly of it. I have home videos on my digitized on my computer that I watch every morning as I get up, get ready for work. And I have Rennie comes on and I say, "Hello, Rennie." It's just a kind of a crazy thing I do. So what I want to do is talk about events of April 3rd, 1917, as reported in the Maryland Herald, which was the paper of record at the time. It does make note that an open declaration of war is likely in Congress. They are definitely getting close to war in Europe. And this was a momentous event because in America entered the war that upset the balance of power, and what could have been a stalemate or could have been a negotiated peace then became a disastrous defeat for Germany, which resulted in a disastrous treaty, which resulted eventually in World War II. But that's a long argument that you can say yay or nay on. But so Wilson has asked for a declaration of war, and Congress is close to doing it. Now, before that horrible event takes place, there's a mention in this paper of a noted mariner is dead. He was a native of Princess Anne who won fame in Egypt, and this is Colonel T, and it looks like it's Kyle Long. The so who is Kyle Long? Now he was an American soldier, lawyer, explorer, and diplomat, and an author. He was commissioned by the United States Army and the Egyptian Army. He explored Central Africa and Korea. He was the second Westerner to visit Lake Victoria and even given credit for possibly being the first American to visit Lake Cayuga, which is also known as Lake Ibrahim. He fought in the Union Army during the American Civil War. Now, a lot of people there fought in the Confederate Army because it was a southern area, the eastern shore, Delmarva Peninsula. But he fought in the Union Army, took part in the Battle of Gettysburg. He was enlisted as a private and finished the war with the rank of captain. And so after the Civil War, he was about 50 veterans from both sides of the war were asked to serve in Egypt. So he took a commission as lieutenant colonel in the Egyptian army in 1869, arriving in Egypt in 1870. And he was with General Charles Gordon in southern Sudan in 1874. Also went to Uganda. So there's an interesting thing. If you want to, I might study this. Why did we send troops, volunteers, to help the Egyptian army and General Charles Gordon? So that's a noteworthy person. It's Charles Haile Long. If you know anything, or Chile Long, if you know anything about him from personally, from his family in Princess Anne or Eastern Shore, let me know. I'd like to see what you have to say, what you found out. Now, um, I want to talk to you about a building that's on the Register of Historic Places, the National Register of Historic Places, and it's Colonel George Handy's house. And this is from a walking tour of Princess Anne. Now, here's the interesting thing about this is when somebody is called a colonel, uh, it's particularly in the South, they don't have to be actually have been a colonel as a rank. It's really an honorary title or a prefix. It's for various reasons by U.S. governors gave it to citizens. It's like very it's traced back to the antebellum before the Civil War, the colonial times, the landed gentry. It's more like an aristocratic term. So you get this Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Harlan Sanders. He wasn't really a colonel, and um, and so Colonel George Handy apparently wasn't really a colonel either, but he fought in the Revolutionary War. He served as a captain of the cavalry in the Partisan Legion. He helped the after the war. He continued to serve his community. He was elected sheriff of Somerset County in 1797. Later became the Register of Wills in 1801, and he held that until his death in 1820. So he was actually a captain of the cavalry in the Partisan Legion, and he 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 was one of the leaders who fought in Revolutionary War, very significant. So now in the house here, um, it was constructed in 1805, and he had enlisted in the Revolutionary in the Continental Army at the age of 18. Now, he was a close friend of Alexander Hamilton and a colonel on the staff of General Light Horse Harry Lee. Handy distinguished himself at the storming of Augusta. After the war in 1787, he married 16-year-old Elizabeth Wilson. The union caused quite a bit of scandal, and the couple were forced to seek wedded bliss in South Carolina. Eventually, they did return to Princess Anne, where Elizabeth and George had 12 children. Okay, so now this house is located, according to Walking Tour of Princess Anne and Look Up America series, at 11719 Beechwood Street. So I definitely hope that you'll get a chance to take a look at that house when you're down there. I know I will when I go down again. I'm learning a lot about the history of Somerset County, and it's very interesting to me. I hope that you'll find some interest in it too, and that what I've provided for you will be some use. Um, all right. Thank you very much for watching.